Hi, my name is Jeroen from the Clapham Property Blog, and today I'm going to talk to you about deducting money from tenants' deposits at the end of a tenancy. Right, so it's come round to the end of the tenancy, you've done the checkout inspection, and you already know from having visited previously that there's a couple of things on there that are going to be in excess of fair wear and tear. Now, it's always a very tricky situation. Tenants always want their deposit back so the day they move out, or preferably even before. But it's sadly the life of a landlord where you're going to have to, at some stage, make damage deductions from the tenant's deposit. It's not a great thing. I personally really don't like it because ultimately I don't like the conflict myself, and also I would much prefer the tenants to take very good care of the property and just live within the fair wear and tear of the property, and I wouldn't have to make any sorts of deductions for excess damages. But sadly, these things happen, accidents do happen, and it's a part of a landlord's life where you are simply going to have to charge the tenants for making good some things that they broke, be it on purpose or by accident. That's beside the point. So let's dive into a few things that we can use as examples. Now, the deposit schemes, they all have their own rules on their website. So I take a moment and read up on the rules of your particular deposit scheme, the one where you've got the deposit registered with, and just see if what you're thinking aligns with what they're thinking. Now, by and large, they're all going to be fairly similar. There's no massive differences there. I've had a look. So in general, what they do is they apply the life of a piece of furniture, for example. If a sofa you bought for a property, you think, oh, well, this is going to last about 5 years, and the tenants were in there for 3 years, but the sofa's absolutely trashed. They've effectively shortened the life of that product by 2 years. So they've had it for 3. You reckon it's ripe for the dump at 3 years instead of 5. You can charge them for the 2/5 extra, as it were, that you're not getting value out of. So the same applies to everything else. Everything has a certain lifetime, and if your tenants have damaged that beyond what is reasonable, then you're allowed to make an allocation for that and deduct that from their deposit. So you can't charge like for like, and that is the big thing where a lot of landlords get into trouble. Oh, the wardrobe's broken, we have to buy a brand new wardrobe, I'm going to charge you for a brand new wardrobe. First of all, it probably wasn't brand new to start with. It's very unusual, as it only happens once where you buy a new wardrobe and a tenant moves in on that day. And secondly, if a wardrobe is in there, wardrobe probably lasts about 10 years, and it's already been there for 10 years or 15 years even, then really you can't make any deductions because, quite frankly, its economical life has passed already. And so the same thing applies to anything else. So a mattress, for example, if it's stained beyond recognition, mattresses really, depending on the quality, will only last between sort of 3 and 6 years. Normal household mattresses, if you buy a nice expensive mattress for yourself, you probably get a lot more use out of that, but you probably wouldn't spend that amount of money on a rental property mattress. Now, I always think, actually, on the subject of mattresses, you should spend a bit of money because the comfort of your tenants is very important. It helps them stay a lot longer as well if you buy the nice orthopedic mattresses. Not saying you have to spend thousands on that, but just don't buy the cheapest thing because, pay cheap, pay twice, sort of thing. So again, apply the life of the product to it. So if the tenant has been in there for 3 years, it was a brand new mattress, and you expect it to last 5, again, you can charge them for the 2/5 that you've not had use of. So with that in mind, you go through the list of deductions, making sure that you're comparing the inventory on the way in to the checkout of the way out, using your independent report to do that as well. I know some people prefer to do their own inventories. I always recommend having a third party do it so that it's independent, and you can't get the tenant then kicking off to the deposit scheme going, oh, it's not fair, the landlord did it himself, and he was very biased, and so on and so forth. You really want an independent party to go and do the report. So you've got photographic evidence on the way in, photographic evidence on the way out. And normally the inventory clerks will highlight the differences in these reports as well. So that makes your life a lot easier. And you can compile a list of any damage deductions. So once you've made your list of damage deductions, you need to send it to the tenants within 14 days of them moving out. And you need to make a proposal and say, look, this is what I think. These are all the deductions in line with the guidelines set by XYZ deposit scheme, and get an agreement from the tenant, get their bank details, and make sure you give them the money back. Now, if there is any sort of dispute, if the tenants do not like the fact that you're taking money off them, which arguably they won't often like, but they can dispute it. If they think the charge is unfair, they can raise a complaint with the deposit scheme. Now, it's very important that you pay them back what you think you owe them. And any monies that are in dispute, so say for example, if the deposit was £2,000, you're deducting £500, they agree to 250 of that. Make sure that whatever you think is fair goes straight back to the tenants. So the £1,500 that you're going to refund anyway, make sure they've got that. And then the £500 that is in dispute, you will hold on to that if you're iDeposits. I suppose if you're using a custodial scheme like the DPS, it'll work slightly differently. But if you're using an insurance-backed scheme, just make sure that any monies that are not in dispute are paid straight back to the tenants. So make sure that you get their bank details, just pay it straight back to them, and then hold on to any monies that are in dispute and wait for the deposit scheme to make up their mind as to who to go with. And you as a landlord, you will have an inventory on the way in, an inventory on the way out, so that there is no arguing about who did what and when. Because the key is, if you don't have an inventory on the way in, the tenant will often say, well, that was already like that, sir. And to be honest with you, the deposit schemes will waive in their favour because there is no evidence to the contrary. So that with these deposit schemes, they're brought in to protect the tenants from unscrupulous landlords that nick their deposits. So they're right unless you can prove that you're right. So make sure that you've got the evidence. So always get a professional inventory report on the way in and a professional checkout on the way out. And there you have it. You are covered. So simple as that. If you thought this video was useful, please do give me a like and drop me a comment below. If you have any questions, do email me on Jeroen@claphampropertyblog.com, email address just here, and see you next time for another video.